Good morning, and thank you so much for joining. Finally, Friday. This is a special edition, and we're so happy to have you guys come aboard our Vibe Talk Facing the Lion episode. I cannot wait to talk about challenges. And we're going to go back in history to talk about challenges. Today's thought is inspired for Black History Month. Black History Month is a day to think about, a time to think about what our historians have done. You know, when you think about Black history, it is about the fight to freedom. Let's not forget that. But we also want to think about how they got to freedom. You see, the people at that time, our Black civilians of that time, freed themselves. And we're going to see their freedom and how they were thinking and planning. I use the symbol of black butterflies because black butterflies is a reminder of those who through tough times found their wings to freedom. And that's what we're talking about. Challenging ourselves through tough times. Now, if you weren't born in those times, you certainly have heard about those times. And I want to alert you on something. You don't have to be Black to understand those times. I want you to understand what struggle to survival means. And that even in today's world, with so much technology, so much more freedom that we have, how do you free your mind? You know, we're way past those times, but unfortunately, there are still some of us who hated to see our Black historians get free. They made the best of time. They made the best of life, the best of their situations, because all that were enslaved chose not to enslave their minds. So we're going to be talking about that. We celebrate Black history. So join in the conversation. We look forward to you joining in. Good morning, and I don't know what happened here. You might want to try that again. And we're having our co-host come in. So do that again because it lost. Anyways, we are live, and I want to share something with you before we get into the discussion. And for our reel today, I used a song called Black Butterfly. And I want to talk about those words for a moment before we really get into what we are going to get into. Good morning. Also, speaking about that, what are you all thankful for? What are you all thankful for? We are open. Our lines are open. We want to share with you your thoughts. What's on your mind? And good morning to my co-host, Trish.
Good morning.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful that it's Friday and I can take a break today.
I love it. I love it. I want and always want to be thankful for having insight. Insight. Because insight is what we need to be able to discern things in people, places, and things. And I want to say with this that I'm so very thankful for insight. May this remind you that you don't have to be Black in order to appreciate Black history. I'm going to read the lyrics. These lyrics, the song is by an R&B artist, what was R&B at that time, the way I knew it, by Miss Denise Williams. Notice what it says. Morning light, silken dream to flight. As the darkness gave way to dawn, you've survived. Now your moment has arrived. Now your dream has finally been born. Like butterfly sailed across the waters. Tell your sons and your daughters what the struggle brings. Black butterfly, set the skies on fire, rise up even higher. So the ageless winds of time can catch your wings. While you slept, the promise was unkept, but your faith was as sure as the stars. Now you're free, and the world has come to see just how proud and beautiful you are. Black butterfly sailed across the waters. Tell your sons and your daughters what the struggle brings. Black butterfly set the skies on fire. Rise up even higher, so the ageless winds of time can catch your wings. Let the current lift your heart and send it soaring. Write the timeless message clear across the sky, so that all of can read, all can read it and remember when we need it. That a dream conceived in truth can never die. Butterfly. Because now that you are free and the world has come to see just how proud and beautiful you are. And it says, fly, butterfly, fly. Now, as you think about those words, and we did a reel for that today. You'll catch it. It will be also on YouTube today. Think about that. You know, many of the slaves had dreams. In fact, I'm sure that they all had dreams. But here's the difference. For their dreams to get free, they went through a lot of trauma because they were sold into slavery. They had people that owned them. See, we don't think about that today of people owning us. But there were people who actually bought and sold them. But now some of the people that we will mention today have set themselves free. We're going to find out how. And I want you to give a long, hard thought as to their challenges, what they had to overcome just to set themselves, just to fly their wings. Because see, in order to get free, it was not just a passing thought. That was their wish every day, after long, hard work, to just be free. Many of them had their families taken. Their wives were sold to the masters. And those masters did things that I don't even care to mention. And from those wives that were taken from the black slaves bore children. If you were of a lighter shade, you were treated differently. You know, some people talk about black as if it were untouchable. Black as it is in the negative. But I want you to think about something. Black history points your way to how people got free. In this year, 2024, there are still people who have not freed their minds, who have not freed their hearts. We should be long past that. No judgment. This podcast is going to help you to understand the importance of Black history. We take nothing for granted here. I'm so thankful for all of those black butterflies that learn to fly their wings. You see, because it wasn't an easy thing, because their surroundings weren't the most joyful things. I want to tell you something. They were challenged. As we talk about challenges that you all are facing today, and we are still asking the questions, what challenges have you faced this week, or are you presently facing? Because we're going to talk about challenges. Think about this for a moment. You see, when they were under distress, anguish, pain, they turned their pain into pride. They turned their pride into joy. How so? Through music. Now, when I ask you, who is your favorite singer? Think about it. And I'm sure Trish, and we'll hear your thoughts. Music brings joy to you. Imagine a slave owner, your master, beating you. Painful, you say? Oh, you wouldn't have wanted that to happen to you, you say? Well, back in the day, you didn't have a choice. You had what was, if you were black, it was disgusting. It was an ugly thing. But oh no, Black is beautiful. And if your skin is of a darker shade, take pride in that. Because every person with the darkest shade went through mistreatment. That's history, and that is history. We've talked about this. And oh boy, so many people have tried to not talk about Black history. But I want to talk about it because with the stream of time, how do you fare in these challenges? You say, oh, the white man is prejudiced. As we know, not all white people are prejudiced. I have some very beautiful friends who are not of a darker shade and treat me like royalty, and I the same. So let's not say that all people of a lighter shade are prejudiced. You still have some people that are grieving because they saw their forefathers or their grandmother's story or their great grandmother, if you are so fortunate to have your great grandparents still alive. They're able to tell you, as your sons and daughter, how they got free. I watched the movie Harriet, and boy, did I ever love that movie. Because you see, it really gave light how Harriet Tubman got free. It didn't paint her in a light of sorrow and despair and poor me, I'm never going to get out of this. We celebrate you, Miss Harriet Tubman, our black butterfly. You see, because no matter what happened to her, she rose above. She set her sails higher than what was expected, because nobody expected her to get free. When we celebrate Black history, what are we celebrating? We're going to be right back to answer that question on Finally Friday, facing challenges while looking at Black history. We're going to be right back.
Podcast. Go set your favorite streaming platforms. Feel free to get interactive and tell us your stories. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and so much more. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot.
Don't forget, Saturday evening after dark, wherever you are, we live with smooth and chill music. Song dedication, in your dedication, in your conversation. Vibe Talk After Dark. It's where you want to be, live on Instagram and Facebook. We're back. We left off with the conversation about Harriet Tubman. Oh boy, wait until you're finished with this. Because some of us remain closed-minded. How so? Because we only want to talk about the same person. We're going to honor all of these Black butterflies. You're going to be awakened to things that you never even thought about. Maybe they didn't get the credit then, but they will be honored in this hour. We're going to give you new mindset. And that's all fine and good that people want to remember only two people. But can I shed some light on our Black history? That there were many black butterflies. We're not going to discredit one person. We want to open your minds to the possibility that there were more than two people that we can think off the cuff. You ever wonder why Black history has been omitted from American history? See, these are things that we want you to be able to look up, look into, because we learn a lot about history. And don't get me wrong, I love history. I love to know how this was started. How did that happen? How did this happen? Because nobody wants to talk about it. Some people have felt embarrassed that their forefathers did the Black historians and historians wrong. So they don't want to fess up to it. They don't want to talk about it. They want to leave it in its memory bank. But I want to say something. I am so grateful to my mother. I'm so grateful. Even as a little girl, she would tell me beautiful things, along with the things that Black people had to overcome. See, nobody wants to talk about it. Some of us even went, and I said this the last Black history, but I don't want to forget it. Some of us went so far as to remove the image that we were all used to. Aunt Jemima and Jemima. Pancakes. You know the lady, Miss Green, that's on the cover? Let me tell you something. Do you know her struggle? That someone actually saw her as a black butterfly and wanted to use her image on a pancake box? But see, here's what happened. You all decided, and whoever you all are, that you wanted to remove that image. How dare you? She worked hard to have her face on that. And you can better believe that Miss Green's face on that Aunt Jemima pancake box was a rare thing. Because you see, no one bothered to remove Gerber Babyface. That didn't bother anybody. But you all said, and I'm using you all in general because you all know who you are. Black, white, European, whoever you are, you decided. Why should she be remembered as slavery? Do you think for one moment that some person back in the day decided we're going to use a slave on a pancake box? Because it started in a kitchen. I wasn't there. You weren't there. It started in a kitchen. And maybe, and I'm just saying maybe, someone liked those pancakes. pancakes. Trish, do you like pancakes?
Yes, I love pancakes.
I love pancakes. But see, what you guys did as part of Black history, you took the face off of that box. Oh, dare you do that? She worked very hard to get in that space. You see, what are we doing? Are we acknowledging the challenges that these people had to go through? Are we as young people not looking into the history books? But we're complaining that nobody acknowledges us. Are we taking away the freedom of the black butterflies that have flown before us to say they mean nothing to us? Yes, she did live in slavery. But somebody somewhere liked those pancakes enough to have her face on a box. Taking away her credit of making pancakes because you didn't see that. You saw the negative of it. You said, dress like a slave. Now, I want to tell you something. If you got on a pancake box at that time, boy, you were really, really something special. Another feature, Uncle Ben's rice. I'm disheartened by the fact that I walk down a grocery aisle and I don't see Uncle Ben. Because to us, he was not your Uncle Ben, not my Uncle Ben, but he was notarized for that picture. You all decided to remove his image. How dare you do that? For years, that face has been on that box. And you know the saddest thing of all? Some of you all were happy to see it removed. You know, as I go down the grocery aisle, I'm still seeing Miss Butterworth. How dare not you remove that? Because Miss Butterworth, sir, has been around for centuries. See, you young people and some of you older people need to really check into things because nobody thought about slavery when we ate Uncle Ben's rice and when we ate Ancient Mama pancakes. See, that was a time where people came together to enjoy a meal that the slave no doubt cooked. And maybe some of the owners, the wives of those owners, said, you know, I really like her cooking. Let's keep this going. How many of you like to eat? You don't mind eating? See, we have endured ourselves through our Black history because we say everything is a negative when no, the people found positive. If they were to sit and tell their story, how would you feel? See, because I don't think, and if you can look this up for me so that we get the name right, because we realize that we are national here over at Vibe Talk, so we want to get the name right for the Ancient Mama on the pancake box and look her up. The sickest thing that somebody could have done is not, at the time, she didn't have a headstone. We're talking about the lady you all and I'm saying you all in general, decided to remove from the pancake box. This is how they were treated, as if they were nothing. She had no headstone for a very long time. But I want to tell you something. That was somebody's loved one. And if you ate Ain't Your Mama pancakes, it was your loved one too, because you ate those pancakes. But I'm not going to doubt for one moment that it wasn't a young person, that it wasn't a person of color. Whatever the case is, you worked so hard to get her image removed. How dare you do that? Trish, did you find the name already?
I'm sorry, what name was I looking for?
The Ancient Mama lady. Because I want you to say her name. She's flown before us as a black butterfly. When Maisie Williams says in that song, tell your sons and daughter, what are you going to tell your sons and daughter, that you will work so hard to remove something that was a national image? Nobody looked at her as a slave. I have Miss Butterworth right on my counter. And
I
I
got
never
it.
even, go ahead.
Her name is Nancy Green.
Nancy Green, say her name. Because you all, whoever you are, decided to remove that image. When you should have applauded, stood up, sailed your horizons, because how do you know that you didn't steal her dream? You see any other women of color on a pancake box? You killed the dream. Because no doubt Miss Green had to work hard for that. So we're going to talk about the depth of Black history. Yes, we know that some have overcome. That's why you get the song, We Shall Overcome. Because in that song, they're talking about their struggles. Long, hard, strategic work that they had to do for less than pennies. Maybe just to have a meal at the end of the day. See, what some of you want is for us to look at Black history in shame. Are you ashamed of your struggle? I challenge you to be the lion and have the courage that they did. We've so far talked about 3 people. Maybe there are others that you've thought about. We should be proud of Black history. They give us February to celebrate it, 28 days. We should be celebrating Black history, Black history every day that we wake up. Let me tell you right now, some of us have to be awakened to awareness. Some of us love the images of being beaten and us calling the slave owners, yes, master, no, master, he is your master. I want to awaken you to awareness. We have some very educated people of color. You're going to be blown out of your socks today by recognizing recognizing, wow, I never knew that. Because some of you did what others did back in the day. You discredited the Black American people who were sold into slavery. See, they were learning, how do we get free? We don't want to be beaten to death. We want to rise above this and get free. Did many of you know that there were some slave ones that got rich? How many of you knew that? There actually was Black people that were rich. How did they get that money? Because you see, some of the masters that they were sold into, the masters' wives liked them. So they left them heritage. They left them heritage. Think about that. So all Black history is not a memory of the poor, the helpless, the defeated. You see, Black history challenges our minds to know what people have done, and that's why we celebrate it. Perhaps there are some people that don't want you to know what Black history has done. If I'm talking to you, let me know. By the way, when you hear our podcast, wherever you're listening, you may now leave us a voice message. Because I challenge you all to tell me if I'm wrong in what I'm saying. Because I've done my homework. You young people, I'm going to talk to you for a moment. This is when I love to talk to young people. You know, these images that you guys look at and you look up to. Little do you know, the lyrics that some of you all sing are leading you back into enslavement. You be the judge of what the lyrics are that are coming off of your mouth. See, this song, Black Butterfly, talks about freedom, being proud of what you have done. See, there's nobody to tell us their history. But shouldn't you be upset that Black history has been removed from many of your children, your grandchildren's history book? And yet we were hated for the things because of our darker shade, of our coarse hair. You didn't accept us because you said we were ugly. You said that Black was not beautiful. But for years, our parents have assured us that Black is beautiful. You brown girl and you brown boy. People were teased because of what they were born into. But I want to talk about the intelligence of our brown boys and brown girls, who by name are Black people, Black butterflies. We'll be right back.
Face my eyes, face my eyes.
We're back. We want to talk about some discoveries. Maybe some of you don't know, but I know. Let's get started with it. And we're going to go right to it. Think about it. What Black people overcame. What they overcame and why they overcame it. We're going to talk about some inventions going to enlighten you people today. So that the next time you say, I don't like those brown boys and brown girls, and why are they celebrating Black history? I got a question for you. Why did you help to omit Black history? Some of you were on board with that, not knowing that you were trying to put us out of existence even in the 21st century. I'm going to enlighten you on some things that maybe you didn't know. Hold on. Just 1 second. I'm not seeing it clear now. I had it. I apologize for the delay. We're going to talk about people. We're going to talk about people in the right way. Let's talk about Garrett Morgan. How many of you know Garrett Morgan? Anybody? Doesn't ring a bell. He is our black butterfly. Because you see, while he was enslaved, he thought about the traffic light. 1922 came into invention. He accomplished that. How about Marie Van Brittan Brown? Anybody know her? Oh, wow. She also was a black butterfly. Home security invented. Isn't that amazing? Home security. Think about that. She was a nurse. You see, our black butterflies that have flown before us were intelligent. They didn't ask to be born into slavery. But these were smart people. Her husband was an electrician. First home security system they invented. Have I blown your mind yet? That's just two people. Now, let's talk about Granville Woods. Granville Woods. He was awarded the patent for the steam boiler. And then he invented a device that allowed trained dispatchers to do the same thing, which was communication through railroad dispatching. You say. Let's talk about Patricia Bass. She was an ophthalmologist, an eye doctor, who invented the process of removing cataracts. Wow. 1942 through 2019. It's amazing, isn't it? Alexander Miles, elevator, automatic elevator doors. You know, those things that you ride up and down because you don't want to, and I don't want to walk up a flight of stairs. See, we're thankful for Alexander Miles because he came up with that inspiration. Sarah Boone. Sarah Boone. What was she doing? She was the inventor of ironing boards. Anybody got an ironing board in your home? See, you don't have to be a color, but you are using an ironing board. Aren't we thankful for the bright minds of our Black history of people? How about Lewis Howard Latimer? Think about that one. Worked in a law firm, and he was a surgeon. After the Civil War, he was an inventor of, put him right here, he was an inventor of hold on, I got it here. I'm losing my thoughts. I want to leave no stone unturned for you. No stone unturned. It's 1 second because I did my homework and I just lost that. I'll tell you exactly what he invented. Sorry, I lost it, guys. What did he do? We're going to find out. Evaporative air conditioner. How many of us use air conditioner? Air conditioning? We all do. Oh, it doesn't stop there. Can I enlighten you? Light bulb and telephone. See, we're giving credit to people that credit is not due. They don't want to tell you about the good things that the people have done. I want to tell you that. Have you been blown away? There's much, much more. Much, much more. But if you don't do the homework, you will never know. See, we're giving the accreditation to people that didn't have the first idea. They stole the ideas from many of these smart people. I want you to look into why Black history, knowing it should be important. Because, see, there are people that want us to remember the beatings, the voice silenced. But these people that I made mention of are the people that are included in the black butterflies that flew their wings. That you need to tell your sons and your daughters, your granddaughters, grandsons about. Stop painting us as pitiful, stupid, worthless. We have challenged ourselves to be someone, something, and somebody. When we come back, we're going to turn it over to Trisha's Treasures. We'll be right back.
'Cause we're called vibetalkfacingthelionpodcast. Go check your favorite streaming platforms. Feel free to be interactive and tell us your stories. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and so much more. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot.
I want to let you all know that you can now send your voice message to our podcast. My amazing co-host Trish just put it in our comment section. We want to hear from you. Trish, I want to turn it over to you for your Trish's Treasures.
Okay. I always loved Black History Month, and of not because of the limited knowledge I had when I was a kid in school, but because my seventh grade teacher, she always told us celebrate to celebrate excellence, and we actually did a project on doing research on a specific person the name we picked, and to create a certificate for that person. And
Nice.
yeah, I love that. And I had Marian Anderson. She is an opera singer, and she made me fall in love with opera music when I researched her. She was the first African American to sing at the Lincoln Apollo, and I listen to some of her music sometimes. She sings hymns like We Shall Overcome and Deep River, Steal Away. She sings those hymns, and she's a very peaceful, amazing, talented singer. I recommend for you guys to listen to her. Her name's Marian Anderson. And because I did that research, I don't regret it at all because I never knew about her. Like, I never knew about her. And it made me happy because most most of the time when you hear Black history, they don't bring up the singers, like the music, like that in school. When I'm in school, like they didn't bring up the singers, and being a singer, I was like, yay, we finally got somebody because I didn't know. And you have to like we talked about in the podcast today, you have to do the work, and there's more to our history than being enslaved. The most part that I admire from our ancestors is they had hope. And what makes me strive to live every day in Black History Month itself, it makes me think, you know, I'm pretty sure the hope that they had for us to live today and actually be free, just like this, it makes them happy. And it'll make them full of joy because we are living in freedom, and we should use our freedom to research, freedom to know, freedom to read, and freedom to be ourselves, and freedom to be strong and speak up the things that they couldn't do but they chose to do. And we have the freedom to do all that, and we should put it into practice and not take it for granted.
Thank you so much for that. There are so many things that we can learn from. Why not start with inventions? I love anything techie. Don't know how to work it, but I love anything techie. I always want to find out how this got here when man is responsible for these things. Shirley Ann Jackson was responsible for the technology for touch-tone phones. Touch-tone phones. And Shirley Jackson was very, very smart. Very smart. Um, she was very educated. Yeah, and went to the uh, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is MIT. If you know anything about MIT, my nephew was in that school. Highlight. I love you and I'm proud of you for making that. Imagine that. Putting yourself through school. She is responsible for touch tone. Oh, see, knowledge is power. And when you use your knowledge right, you are able to soar highly, rise above the occasion, and ask yourself questions. Ask yourself deep-seated questions because you want to have your living butterfly wings. You want to be able to understand how did we get to freedom. We think about so many names. The list goes on and on. Benjamin Beckner, Judy Reed, Thomas L. Jennings, James Fortin, George Peake, Andrew J. Beard, Henry Blair, Hugh M. Brown, George Washington Carver, Shelby Davidson, Lewis Latimer. We talked about that. Invention for the light bulb is what he did. Stand to be corrected. Jane Ernest Metzelger, George Washington Murray, John Parker, Norbert Relics, Samuel Scott Trun. Each of those names and many, many more. Many, many more stand and represent a black butterfly that has not been defeated, but through defeation has rose to the occasion, flying high, leaving us a legacy which to tell our children and their children about. I'm so thankful for my mom being able to share with me things that I did not know, things that I did not learn in school. Thank you, Mom, for that. The name goes on and on. May this podcast bring to you enlightenment. May it stop enslaving your mind. to bad behavior. No, we don't want to forget the struggles. We want to remember their struggles and what they had to go through to get there. These were smart people. They didn't have the books like we have today. They didn't have Google. They didn't have modern technology. They made a way. I challenge you this day, finally Friday, to make a way. I'm accepting the challenge. What about you? Our last question for today is, what did you learn and discover about today's podcast? And how did it make you feel? Trish.
I've learned today that the little things that I use, which is like the air conditioner and the ironing board, it came from someone with a brilliant, brilliant ideas, and it's still being used today. And that makes me cherish like living more and cherishing what my fellow Black people made, because I get to use it, and that's like me saying thank you for inventing something that I'm always going to need in the future. I still use the ironing board today. I did this morning, and it's still going to be here. And that made me also discover to make a legacy for myself and do something that impacts people in a positive way. And I felt in this podcast today, I felt empowered and I felt knowledgeable.
And that's what we're aiming to do. Thank you so much. For me, just some of these names. You know, we see names and faces, and we remember faces, some of us. But having no face was what it was like, not being human. Imagine as you were on a boat. You weren't there for a cruise ship, a cruise. You were there being sold into a country, a person that you never knew. And you didn't go first class. You were chained to someone, thrown on a boat with stacks and stacks of people next to you. But someone, somewhere, somehow, began to think about removing themselves. You see, the butterfly wasn't always the butterfly. There's no negative in these discussions. Fly your wings high is what I've learned. Never let anyone tell you that it's impossible. You'll never succeed. You'll never amount to anything. Let no one tell you that. Because we've learned through these beautiful black butterflies that anything is possible. Thank you for joining us. I felt very empowered as well. And I thank my co-host Trish for this. We don't forget where we've come from. And I may not be related to you by bloodlines, but I am related to you, both Trish and I, through our powerful words. Because you say you can relate. You can now, through Vibe Talk, leave a message. We've left the link. It will be left in our YouTube. Join our YouTube channel. Thank you for hanging out with us this week. We hope that we have impacted you. Our question still remains for this day. What challenges have you been faced? We're looking forward to spending time with you. If we're in your living room, in your cars, on your beautiful screen TVs, we would love to hear from you. Thank you for joining us. And please have a beautiful, safe weekend. Don't forget, for Vibe Talk After Dark, you can start texting your dedications. You can make a dedication. You can ask to play your favorite song. We keep it smooth and chill. And it's conversation that you want to have. We'll see you Saturday at Vibe Talk After Dark. Thank you for joining us.
Cause I don't want you just to make a resolution. I want you to think about. I was really about the moon with you. I got the vibe with it. I really took the time with it. I really love the ride with it. You really got the vibe with it. I took the time with it. I really love the ride with it. You can really see I'm better you. When you get the vibe with it, yeah. When you get the vibe with it, yeah.